Hello, I'm Dujuan Thomas, and you're watching Dujuan Thomas Live, the live show that's pre-recorded. Make sure you stay tuned. We have a great episode lined up for you. Hey, Dujuan Thomas here, and it's great to welcome you to Dujuan Thomas Live, the live show that's pre-recorded. And today, I can't go on without first giving honor to God because I'm grateful, y'all. This opportunity, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. And for those of y'all that seen season one, I filmed it all by myself with the help of my guest today. You'll see him in a second. And, it was filmed in what used to be my great-granddad's garage. And here I am now in a big studio, Studio 2. And I'm so grateful for the Paducah 2 studio. And I'm grateful for the team here that's helped bring this together and everybody that's, played a part. And first and foremost, giving my life to Christ was the best decision I ever made. And without him, I wouldn't be doing any of the things you see me doing today. Like, honestly, he has helped guide me on this path of success. And growing up as a kid, we think that giving our life to Christ is going to be boring. It's going to be stale. It's going to make your life just boring. And that's not true. I'm living proof that you can do anything you put your heart and mind to as long as it's in the will of God. And in saying that, I'm so honored to have this man on my show. He is my brother in Christ. We've been friends for only a handful of years, but it's felt like a lifetime, honestly. And, he was even somebody that was behind the scenes on season 1 of Dujuan Thomas Live. So it's an honor and a privilege to have none other than Jaelon Harris on the show today.
Well, thank you, DJ.
Thank you for coming on.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, and like I said, we've been friends for some time. Brothers in Christ, here to edify one another through life. And it's an honor to have you, man. And
it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And for those of you that do know what's behind the scenes, know that we could be some jokesters sometime. And before we even started shooting, he was trying to get me to laugh on camera. But grateful to have you. And this guy, I got to tell y'all first here, right now, he is about to be the biggest name to come out of Paducah. I'm saying that right now.
He said it. He said it.
So first off, Jaelon, my first question for you is, who is Jaelon? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a local artist here in Paducah. I'm a vocalist, dancer, actor, songwriter, content creator, a creative director, vocal coach. I wear many hats, but first and foremost, I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. I like to create. It is one of the purest things that I can do. A lot of people know that they're meant to cook or, I don't know, be a nurturer. For me, art is catharsis. It is the best way I can release. It's the best way for me to think about who I am, to think about who God is, and to reflect on that and just to grow.
Definitely.
So art, I'm an artist.
And so, of course, I know a lot of these answers, but what inspired you to get into music?
I'll tell you what, I don't think any one thing inspired me to get into music. My mom said, and you can ask her yourself, if you don't know my mom, get to know her, she'll tell you. She said I was making noise when I came out of her womb, like not like crying, but like she said as a child, like I would always just make random noises. Like she said I would just like wake up and just go, and just like do crazy things like that. So I do believe that music has always been a part of me. I believe that God gave me the gift of music. Now, it wasn't until I was 9 years old that I was shown a Michael Jackson video, the famous Thriller video. That's when I realized that I could do it as a career, and I could go far with it then. So that's, if you want to talk about inspiration, Michael Jackson, I guess. Say that.
And then also, do you got any other artists that may inspire you or have inspired your sound?
Prince is my favorite artist of all time. Prince, for me, Prince is the artist that showed me that I could actually be me and still create music. Michael was the one who showed me like, hey, this is an art form and you can have a career with this and you can entertain. But Prince showed me that I could be as real as I needed to be, and as transparent as I wanted to be, and still reach people and touch people's lives.
And so, also, you're a worship leader at House of Hope Ministries here in Paducah, where I also serve as, over the media and all that stuff. So how has being a worship leader helped shape you and grow you into the man you are today?
Being a worship leader is challenging because it takes sacrifice on a personal level, because worship is not performance. And so, to me, worship is a serious act. So that that causes me to rethink a lot of the things that I would want to do or could do, and it keeps me away from a lot of the things that are negative. So worship keeps me closer to God, and it also humbles me, keeps me low, and it moves me in such a way that reminds me constantly that even though my gift is mine, it's not for me. It is for the people. It's for people to be set free. It's for people to be changed and renewed through Christ, you know. And even if it's not, I would say, even if it's not traditional gospel music, it still can change people's lives. It can still heal people. So that's what it does for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, knowing you, seeing how your music's kind of transformed over the years, like, what even is your genre? Like,
I don't have a genre. If I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that. I want to make such an impact on the music industry that it gets to the point to where under genre it just says art or just like sound or something, because I don't have a genre. I do have a message and a purpose, and that's the gospel of Christ. So we call that a genre, but I think genres limit a music and it limits a sound. So.
And so
I don't have a
speaking
genre.
on that,
Genre bending, really.
really,
Yeah.
And then before I get into the next thing, but your EP now, you know, that you got out forward. You know, you have 4 songs on there.
5. Well, you're right.
Interlude.
4 songs, but
yeah,
5
with
tracks,
the interlude, and y'all can find that on Spotify, all the different sites.
Apple
iTunes,
Music,
there we go.
Amazon, everywhere.
So,
TikTok.
What was forward to you? Like, what made you create that E EP?
Forward for me was letting go of a lot of trauma from my teenage years. When I was 17, I fell in love real hard. And then 2022? Is that this year? This past March, I got my heart broke, and I spent 4 years in this on and off relationship. So that forward inspired me to let go. So the first track is called Give It All Away. And that was an ode to myself and the person I fell in love with, because I knew that letting go of that situation was going to hurt the person and hurt me. But it was the healthiest thing to do.
Definitely.
And then Game, the second track on that EP, is about tiptoeing around the idea of like lust and like wanting to entertain it and then thinking that lust was love. So I had to explore that. And then the third track was called Playing God, or is Playing God. And that is a song about that specific lover being very controlling, manipulative. So that's where it comes, playing God, like wanting to be such a pillar in my life that I was so blinded in it, you know, and whatever that person said or did, I went with it. I didn't even question it. So I had to come to terms with that. And then that's when you get the interlude Aware. And you just say, wait, I have to let go of this. If I hold on, there's a lot of uncertainty there. So that's what I say in the song. And then get to 4 years when I sit and reflect on the entire situation. It's like, this can no longer reside in me. I can't let that be my home. I can't let that be my place, because it's not healthy. It's toxic. It limits growth, and it's just stagnant. It's stagnant. So that's what forward for me was, literally going forward, moving on into young adulthood. Definitely. I'm 22 now, and so it feels different. It's still scary. I'm actually a little afraid of love, so don't try me. But yeah.
And I kind of got ahead of myself also. So Jaelon Harris, before we seen or saw the Jaelon Harris we have today, you were performing, you know, of course at church, but also, well, not performing at church, but
that's right,
worshiping at church and performing in groups in Paducah.
Yeah.
So I guess talk me through that process of saying, oh, wow, you know, learning how to get through that process of going through groups to, you know, kind of where we're at today.
Let me tell you, I was working at Kroger. A lot of people remember I used to have locks.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to work at Kroger, and I would sing all the time and dance all the time. And there's this young man named Greg. He's like, man, you really sound good. You should meet my friend. His name is Callan B.
Oh,
he has a studio, and I was 17 at the time. He's like, I'll give you his number and all this stuff. So I go downtown and I meet him, and I met Callan B and Jay Skrilla, aka Love Jones. And from there, I joined the band, the Love Jones Experience, as a background vocalist. And then there's a young man named Cody, Cody Wagner, and he plays the guitar and bass and a slew of other instruments. He's extremely talented. Shout out to Cody. And he played in a band called A Quilt City Hustle. And they were like, yo, we really like your voice. We love your range and how you present yourself. We love that you're not just a background vocalist. You're like an entertainer. Like you have the ability to captivate an audience with your stage presence. And that comes from theater too. I've been doing musical theater and theater in general since I was 9 years old. So he said, we want you to be our lead vocalist. So I joined that band. And from there, where'd I go from A Quilt City Hustle? I joined Callan B and the Hive.
Yeah.
Callan B and the Hive. as a background vocalist. And then I joined the cast of Paducah Rhythm Review, which is a group of friends of mine, and Tiffany Dawn, who runs the Rhythm Factory in Paducah. And she put together a nonprofit called the Bloom Initiative. And the nonprofit basically allows artists, local artists, to get paid for their work.
Oh, yeah.
So under the Bloom Initiative, you have the Paducah Rhythm Review. So I joined that cast, and then I joined a band called Groove Lane with Cliff Davis, Tanika Fitzgerald, Nikki Donaldson, McKinley, Raquel, and Keenan Perez. Yeah. So that's a soul band that's really funky. Oh, you know what? I actually forgot this. I was gonna be the lead vocalist in Soul Dog. That's another band. That's another band.
So what is that? 5 bands so far that you
in the span of 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years.
5 years. Yeah. And some of those overlapped with one another, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. So, I was booked and busy.
And so now here we are at your solo career.
Yeah.
So what gave you that motivation just to take that big step to say, I want to be solo,
Well, I always had the will and want to do it. Mm-hmm. It was just, I wanted to create a name for myself. Mm-hmm. I wanted to, I guess kind of like, what's the word? Brand myself in Paducah's minds, like so I could be recognized in the art world, and be appreciated for that talent. The way that my band came together is I just called a group of my friends, Cliff on the keys, Cody on the bass, Brick, he's my former drummer, but I have Keenan now, and who else? Tiffany, Dawn, and Tyron Fitzgerald. And I said, hey guys, I have my EP coming out, and I also have like 10 unreleased songs. I want to put this together. I want you guys to come together and make it happen live. And that's what we did.
Definitely.
And so it didn't take much. You just have to have a group of dedicated friends who are down for the journey.
Right. So you would say having a good team is what kind of
having a good team. Yeah.
Form that. And speaking on that, so what was some of the struggles that you faced, branching off into a solo career? Like, because now you're not the lead. I mean, you are the lead now. You're not having to follow the direction of somebody else. You're the brains.
And that is what I was gonna say. Leadership, being, I guess, like the CEO. Like basically, like I'm the conductor of the train. If I don't move, the train doesn't move.
Right.
So for me, one of the things that I have struggled with, and I'm learning to navigate now with the help of my good friends, is taking the initiative to just, say yes or no. Like I asked my band, I said, so what do y'all think about that? They said, what's your choice? And I said, what do you mean it's my choice? Like it's your choice. I'm like, okay, this is scary because I've never been the person to make all the executive decisions. So now it's coming to grips with being an artist first, and then being a leader, and getting a group of people to work together and stay together. That's the key. A lot of times, we'll be in rehearsal and I'm like, I just don't know what to do. And I'll ask them because sometimes I'm completely stumped. But I think also too, being vulnerable enough and transparent enough to say, hey, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, guys. What do you guys think? What should I do? That I think makes a great leader, because to act like you have it all figured out is just like the dumbest thing, I think, because no one really ever has it always figured out. So you have to ask, and you have to just grow and learn and be willing to look silly or be embarrassed and make mistakes, because that's how you learn. So that's where I'm at.
And I like that right there. You said it. You're making mistakes. That's how you learn. Like, the people that have failed, like, what do they say? It's Michael Jordan, one of those basketball players. They had to miss so many shots in order to be great.
You have to fail first.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you have to take the risk. It's a risk to look silly. It's a risk to fall, and a lot of people don't want to look, silly.
And they don't want to take that risk.
They don't want to take the risk.
And the risk takers are the ones that learn. They make it because they took that risk. And so now, you've been doing gigs with the groups and stuff, but now you've been doing your solo gigs. Yeah. What has that been like being on stage and like the crowds of people there, knowing you, knowing your music? What does that feel like to you?
I don't know. I can't say. It's surreal for me, actually. Yeah. I kid you not. My entire life at school, I can count on my hands how many times I actually paid attention in class, because I didn't. Yeah. Because I was daydreaming. Like, I would see myself, like, I'd be in school and I'd see myself like on stage, or like seeing myself at Madison Square Garden or doing festivals. And then I sat and we did the Local Licks Festival, 2 weeks ago now. And I was like, I'm on a lineup with Nappy Roots at a local festival, and it's my set. It's my set. No one is like, no one has to open up for me, or I don't have to wait. It's all me. So what was the question again?
And he actually jumped the gun because I was actually going to mention
Yeah.
Local Licks about the. You were headlining with Nappy Roots,
Yeah.
a worldwide known band, and actually,
Yeah.
let's check that out real quick. So there you were,
Yeah.
just hitting your notes. Like that's y'all gonna see some more of him in a second, but man,
It's surreal. It's surreal, and it makes me appreciative for the fact that I can do it. I said, well, if I saw myself at 9 years old doing the big shows, but I'm doing the smaller ones now, I have to be there. It's gonna happen. So it keeps me in a very appreciative and grateful state because the people that I work with, they don't have to work with me. They do it because they love me and I love them, and they really are down for the journey, and they support the cause. You know, a lot of times too, as an artist, you have to remain truthful because people can see through that. You know, there's been plenty of times I've watched people and I'm like, this is, now there's a rehearsal, there's a script that goes along with it, but I'm like, this is just, it's so bland. You're not even being you. You're doing it because, I don't know, you want the money, or you just think this is the best way to do it. And it's like, no, sometimes it's good to steer away from that track and just be completely honest. So yeah,
definitely.
Keeps
And
me
moving forward to your next, I have to do it, but moving forward to your next, you know, music and what's coming out for you next. But we talked about in the beginning of the interview, like you said, that your music is, you know, spreading the gospel, but it's not gospel music.
It's
so
not traditional gospel music. It's all faith-based. So my next project actually is it's pop, it's house, it's neo soul. There's a little bit of R&B in there too. I do so much, and there's actually a rock song in there.
Oh yeah.
There's a rock song. There's a rock song in there. It's actually, I surprised myself doing that. I was like, but I sang in a Cool City Hustle, and that was an alt rock band, a folk alt rock band. But it's not really too surprising. It's more like, Jaelon, really by yourself?
And so and that's why I'm trying to, I guess, pick your brain on that. So you don't call it gospel.
No,
And so
I mean, it's gospel in its message.
Yeah.
It's faith in
Right.
its message.
There
So
it is.
you can say it's gospel music, but it's not the traditional organ and clap your hands or
right.
like, you know, like that type of music. But I mean, the message is still being spread, whether it's pop or it's folk based, or, you know, however
and
you
what
wanna
is
say
that
it.
message?
The gospel of Christ. Really what it is, it's repentance. I learned that at I think probably like 18 or 19. The act of it, the act of turning away from things that keep you out of God's will. And no one's perfect, and I don't want anyone viewing this to think that, oh, I've got it all figured out, because to be completely honest, I've been through so many cycles and loops of repenting and going back to the same thing, repenting for it again, going back, because that's just human nature. We fall short of the glory of God every day. But the key is to recognize that, to understand it, and to confess it. You have to understand that, hey, I'm wrong. I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
You can't blame God for everything. Folks are, oh, well, I can't seem to. No, it's you. At what point do you take accountability and say,
Right.
hey, I could do something different?
Right.
You know, if I keep turning the stove to 350 and the cake is not being baked, maybe 375 would bake the cake.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just the key to it all, repentance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then I always like to end with these kind of questions. What advice would you give to yourself 10 years ago, or however many years ago, that first time that Jaelon realized, oh, I want to be a singer? What advice would you give to that young you? Oh, you got to think on it. It's going to be a good one.
It is good. So I'm 22 now. I'm telling 12-year-old Jaelon, okay, trust God. Your past and your mistakes don't define you. And to keep going, always keep going. I've experienced a lot of trauma in my young adolescent life and growing up. And to be completely honest, I've even attempted suicide twice and contemplated it many times, but it's the will of God that kept me alive, and it's the power that He gives me to just like keep going. So it's really just understanding that for anybody who's watching this, if you're in a rough patch or going through something that's dark, know that we have a God who can bring you through, who's going to carry you through. The word simply says He'll never leave nor forsake you. So even when you feel alone, you can call on Him, you know, and He'll be there. And He might not be there the way you want Him to be there, but He's there. And just to hold on.
Man, that's
hold
awesome.
on.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And then also, what advice could you give to anybody that wants to get into this realm of music, creating music, being an artist?
That's
Yeah.
Look, study music business. Learn how to own your material. And own your music, because we live in an age now to where you don't have to have the record industry. Yeah. You don't have to have the record label. You don't have to have the A&R and all that. We have social media. So own your music, do the research, and be honest all the time. And don't let people take advantage of you. Yeah. Because a lot of times those who are truly gifted, you know, we're so naturally giving that we just want to do it because we love it. And people can take advantage of that and leech. Pay attention to those who come around when everything's good. Pay attention to the people who only come around when everything's good. When it's bad and you call on them, they can't be there. Yeah, watch out for those people. Those people are really, they can be self-righteous and self-absorbed snakes, really. Yeah. You know, sneaky. So watch out for those people. That's my advice for young artists and dreamers in music and art and just being creative. Definitely.
Was there anything else you would like to share with the viewers?
Look forward to a new album from Jaelon Harris soon. I don't want to say sometime next year. Maybe when it's hot outside again or something like that. And also look forward to a newer EP. I don't have a name for it yet, but it is fast-tracked. It's on its way to be putting out this I'll say later this fall, early winter. But it is where I am now. So it is the second part to Forward in a sense, but not so much of letting go, just actually accepting and receiving where I am now. So look forward to that. And there's one thing I could say at the very end is always have faith.
Well, y'all heard it here first. This ain't the end of Jaelon. He's going to be actually performing for us today, so let's stay tuned for that.
This is for myself. After 4 years of trying to hold on to a love, from the beginning it was dying, and someday it won't last always. And never close the door, and if you do, baby, leave the key under the mat so I can come and go when I please. And you know I tried to hold you close, and man, I was toxic, and I loved your toxic energy. Drove me really crazy, gave me hopeful synergy. Yes, you know this all wouldn't so wrong, and I don't wanna feel your touch again. If you're not all mine, what's the point of this? This all was stupid, it was reckless, and I loved it cause I never had loving. I remember how you looked at me. That stare was just so sweet, too sweet. I had to let it go, leave it alone. It's not your home, gotta build my own. But I don't know, but I left it alone. It's not my home, gotta build my own. So I let it go, let it go. It's not my home, gotta leave it alone. Gotta build my own. that I'm building my own. How it turned out. How it turned out. But it's done now. It's done now. So I'ma let go. I'ma let go right now. Thank you.
Well, we just had an amazing performance by Jaelon Harris. Make sure you follow him on all of his platforms at 777 Jaelon, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm telling you, this man is really about to make it big out of Paducah. He's going to be the biggest musical genius out of Paducah. I'm claiming that over his life right now. So stay tuned, look out for his music, and this has been Dujuan Thomas Live, the live show that's pre-recorded.